Hello and welcome to News from the Roost, where today my guest is the vocally talented Elise Cleary. Good afternoon, Elise, and welcome to the show.
Good afternoon. Pleasure to be here.
I tell you, of all the kids that we've had on here, all the actors and actresses that we've had here on News from the Roost, is really making me glad that I have my tickets to your Sunday's performance. How are ticket sales? How I understand the buzz is going everywhere about this show.
Yeah, I've heard great things. It's definitely a really popular musical with lots of 80s hits. So it's music that everybody knows, everybody likes. It's a really feel good storyline. So everyone will enjoy it.
So, some of the other actors in here I've seen in other shows, some of the your cast members or even some of your crew I've worked with in other productions and things like this, but, uh, I understand you have quite the theater background yourself, and could you tell us a little bit about the history of how you got into theater?
Yeah, so I've actually been doing theater since I was 12. I started off in a summer drama program that used to be run by the Horseheads Youth Bureau. And then I got into like the Horseheads middle school and high school shows. I've done Dream Barn productions in Odessa, which is slightly different than most theaters. That is a immersion theater, so the audience is only like a foot away from you, which is quite scary and nerve wracking. But definitely educates you a lot on how to maintain your character, not break. I've also done shows with Elmira Little Theater. Last summer, I did Heathers with them when I played
Wow,
Veronica, which was really cool. Yeah, I got to perform on the Powers Theater at the Clemens Center, which was just a dream.
that is an amazing space. Wow.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice for, like, I know that there's a lot of young kids, a lot younger than you, who
Mhm.
are trying to kind of find their way. Sounds to me like for a young person in theater and acting that there can be a lot of things to navigate through, like, do you have any advice for somebody that's really young coming up through some dangers maybe to watch out for or some advice?
Yeah, my biggest advice would probably just to keep working, work as hard as you can. Hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work. And just get as much experience as you can and just try and focus on yourself. Sometimes theater can be very competitive, but just because someone else is good doesn't mean that you're bad. So you just have to keep focusing on yourself and really work to improve your singing and your acting.
That sounds like some good advice, I'll tell you, for just about anybody who's involved in theater. What inspired you to audition for show Rock of Ages? I mean, that's kind of music, of my generation. Sorry, but these gray hairs are speaking right now. And the '80s was a time where it was like, my driver's license and going to dances and seeing heavy metal bands. I mean, and it's a time I can love. But what about you, somebody your generation? What inspired you to be in Rock of Ages?
Yeah, so originally this show was actually going to be Mamma Mia, but unfortunately, Lake Country Players couldn't get the rights to it. And then they quickly pivoted to Rock of Ages and decided to stay on and continue to do that. Rock of Ages has always actually been a dream show of mine. I love the movie. My dad really, really loves Bon Jovi and Whitesnake,
Oh, yeah.
so he's really encouraged me and my sisters to get to know that. So I really loved the music, loved the movie. So I thought it would be a blast, and it has been.
Well, that's fantastic, and, Mamma Mia, the music is definitely probably not what we would consider heavy metal, right? Not rock, right? But maybe a little bit of disco involved in there, but it's still
Yeah.
is kinda contemporary music, and is that
Yeah.
all does that also considered a jukebox musical or something like that? It is, isn't it?
Yes, both of them are considered jukebox musicals because they both use music that was not originally made for musical theater.
Fantastic. Are there any actresses or actors that are in the business that maybe inspire you or that you look up to for maybe like as a master of their craft or something?
That's a great question. Honestly, two women that I really look up to are Indina Menzel and Lady Gaga.
Oh, yeah.
Personally, their voices are just fantastic. So they've really inspired me to work as a belter to try and figure out how to like make my voice smooth and sound really good while singing loudly and hitting some pretty high notes.
Well, you mentioned Lady Gaga, and I'm not so sure. Well, if you're a Lady Gaga fan, I know that Lady Gaga fans know just about what kind of an actress she is too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
and of course, she's obviously a good songwriter and singer, but she's also a very good actress, right?
absolutely.
And I'm not sure if the people if everybody, just who listens to her everyday music, that might be on the radio or in the car while you're driving or something, I'm not sure if they understand just exactly what a good actress she is, very skilled. How about the
Mhm.
instrumentation? Like, what kind of music do you sing along with when you're up there on stage, and, 'cause the '80s has some very particular sounds, a lot of synthesizers, rock guitars. How does your production kind of solve that problem?
Yeah, so our production is actually using pre-recorded backing tracks that we sing along to, which can actually be very difficult and is actually a lot more difficult than using like a pit or a rock band, because if you get the timing wrong, you're kind of screwed. There's no way to like go back. No one's cueing you, so you have to be on 100% of the time, which actually makes it really a lot more difficult than a lot of people think.
I never really thought about that. I kinda thought, "Well, geez, it's excellent. You know that it's always gonna be there," but I hadn't really thought about, what happens if you, forget a word or go back and repeat a verse by accident. So you're right. You probably gotta be really on your game all the time, you know?
Yeah.
But do you get a chance to practice a lot with it, though?
Oh, absolutely. We've been practicing with these tracks for the past couple of weeks, so we'll have been using them for probably around a month by the time the show gets around.
Now you play the character Justice, and
Mhm.
I saw this when I first saw this show. I saw it in Buffalo. Justice is a very interesting character because of where the club that she's in charge of and her protective nature about to Sherry. Could you talk a little bit
Mhm.
about that?
Yeah, I mean, Justice is very much a mother figure. She's very like maternal towards Sherry and towards all of her dancers, honestly. So that has been something that like I've definitely had to work on because I am only 20, so obviously I'm not a mother. But I am an older sister. I have two younger sisters, one of which is actually in the show. She's
Oh,
playing Anita. She's playing Anita, and we are 5.5 years different in age. So I've been working with her a lot in theater since she was 7. So I've kind of helped like mature her as well. So I've kind of been trying to pull that into my justice
good.
role.
What about the music that you and Sherry sing a duet? Several, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, Sherry and I sing in pretty much every song that I have solos in. Sherry and I are doing a duet in, which the girl that I'm on with, because we are double cast, I'm on with Emma. She is extremely talented. We work super well together, and I personally think we sound really great together. Duets can be very nerve wracking because it's not just on you, it's on someone else too. But when you trust the person you're working with, duets can be fantastic.
Do you have plenty of time to do you have like little cues or somehow I don't know, hand signals or if something should go wrong? I mean, do you have your own way of communicating through these issues?
Honestly, we don't have any backhand signals or anything like that. We kind of just keep eye contact and look at each other and just like, okay, we're singing right now. We got this.
Gotcha. That's fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. It sounds like you have a really great cast that you're performing with. And because you've given her a shout out, I think you said Emma. Is Emma the person that's your double cast, did you say?
Yeah, Emma is playing Sherry with me. My double cast is the girl named Riley, who's also
Riley.
saying, yeah, I love Riley so much.
Oh, gotcha. Well, that's nice that you give Riley a little shout out, because she's not here with us in the studio today. So we wish Riley the best too, in her performance. Now, what are some of your favorite songs? Now, there's a lot of music from the '80s, no doubt about it. But if you had to pick some of your favorite songs for the show, could you tell the audience what are some of your favorites that they're going to love and why you like them so much?
That is a tough question. There's a lot of good music in this show. Probably my personal favorites are Wanted Dead or Alive, just because I
Oh,
love Bon Jovi, hardcore Bon Jovi fan. I really like Every Rose Has Its Thorn. That's one of my solo songs. We have a Heart in My Heart slash Shadows of the Night remix that me and Sherry sing. And that is just an amazing girl power song. All of the girls in the show come out and sing that with us and dance. So those are probably my top three.
those are some good ones. You got some corner flash there, and they do some really good stuff. I remember that group well. What is there some things that if you were want the audience to come see this show, and you just want to make sure that uh, they don't miss it. And if there's just one thing about this show that you know the audience is going to love, uh, there's all kinds of wonderful dancing and choreography. And I seem to remember I read that the choreography is you have one of your directors, I think, is also doing a little bit of the choreography. Are they not?
Mhm. Yeah, one of our directors, Kelsey, has choreographed several numbers, as well as one of our castmates, Arlene. She's a dancer, so she's also done a couple of our numbers for the show.
And to my original question, I'm sorry I kind of sidetracked there and got off on a tangent, but what's one of those things that you want the audience to really know about coming to this show?
I really want the audience to just have a good time, honestly. Like, it's a really feel good, happy show with lots of really just amazing music. There's a lot of high energy. Just it's gonna be a good time.
It sounds to me like it is a lot of energy, and I think that from what I gather from my interviews with you guys is that you're gonna have a special way of imparting that energy and that liveliness, that feel good message that people need right now, and if you wanna escape, go see this show, everybody. I mean, it's just gonna be fantastic. You're not gonna see Rock of Ages too often. This is not one of those things that, I love Sound of Music, but, you can see Sound of Music around the corner. You can go here and see, different things. This is not one of those that you're gonna get to see too often, and they gotta get out to see it. August 6th through the 9th, they can see it at Watkins Glen High School Auditorium. The 6th through the 8th, your shows are what, 7 PM? And it says down there at the bottom. And then on Sunday, you have a matinee too, right? At 2 at 2
Yes.
at 2 PM on, yes, and on there,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
is fantastic for those of you who work different schedules or you have a different, you know, routine during the day and you could rather feel like going out in the afternoon, Sunday. That's when I'm going to come see you. I'll tell you, at least that's going to be my time, and it's going to. So I'm very excited to see your show. And I really appreciate you being on the show today and making the effort to sit through and tell us a little bit about behind the scenes of Rock of Ages by the Lake Country Players. They're putting that on, and the Lake Country Players always does such wonderful things. They have done so many shows and are so important to our community. We're glad to have them. I'm glad you're a part of the Lake Country Players. So, if there's nothing else, is there anything else I've forgotten?
No, sounds good. Come see Rock of Ages.
All right. Thank you. Stick around for a little bit afterwards, Elise, and I'm going to give you some information after the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to News from the Roost. You know, we're always trying to give you a little bit of something different, and we're very happy about Rock of Ages. Take care. Be safe.